Hey guys, today we're going to talk about finding missing measurements. We'll continue this in different congruent polygons, and it's all going to come back down to the congruent statements that we talked about. So it's all about finding corresponding parts and using them to find missing measurements. So let's start with our first problem here. These are the two figures we're given, and we're also told that triangle MNO is congruent to triangle GHI, and again the order that these are written in is really important. Notice here, you might notice we have angles and we're looking for angles, so we're not using the sides at all here. So I'm just going to list the congruent angles. This will be helpful for us. Angle M is going to correspond with angle G, so those two are congruent. Angle N is going to go with angle H, so those are going to be congruent, and O will go with I. So that's another pair of congruent angles. Remember, all corresponding parts are congruent. So then we can use this, because the figures might not be exactly lined up perfectly. One of them might have been rotated or reflected. So we know angle M goes with G though. So we know M is going to go with G, which means the 4Z, that's what angle M is going to equal the 44 degrees. So we can go ahead and solve for Z. You divide both sides by 4, so Z should be 11 here. Our next one, let's say we want to find the value. We're in angle N here, so we want to find what B is. Well, angle N goes with angle H, so 10B plus 2 is going to be equal to angle H, which is 82. Remember, they correspond with each other, so they'll be congruent since the two triangles are congruent. And when you solve, you subtract 2 from both sides, so you should have B is equal to 8. And then lastly, we are looking for angle O. So angle O corresponds with angle I, so that is going to be x plus 8 is equal to y. We've run into a little bit of a problem here because we have two variables. We need just one. So what we can do, maybe you already know what to do, we can actually find out the value of y here, and we can do that because we know two of the three angles in this triangle. So in this triangle, 44 plus 88 plus y, that should equal 180. Let's write that a little neater. That should equal 180. So 44 plus 82. 44 plus your 82, let's make this neat, plus y, that's going to equal 180. So when you calculate together 44 plus 82, you're going to end up with, let's see, 86, 126 plus y. So therefore y is equal to, when you subtract 126, you should get 54. So we know y is 54, so we can put a 54 in there. This one takes a couple of steps to get to our x, and then you're just subtracting 8 from both sides, so x would equal 46 here. So you still can use properties we know from the past to finding missing measurements, but you now can use these congruent statements to find some more as well. Alright, so that was our first one. We're going to do 3 more so we can see just different examples. Our next one we have right here. We are told the two triangles are congruent, and we are trying to find the value of x and y. So here's x, here's y, and we are not given a congruent statement. Instead, we're given congruence markings like we see. So if we go ahead, and actually we'll keep it down low, we can match up certain parts of the triangles. Like we know, if you look at the congruence markings, 1 marking and 3 markings, the side between those is 26. Over here, 1 marking, 3 markings, the side is 26. But now we have variables, we're going to want to match up correctly. So the side that has 1 marking and then 2 markings for the angles, that's 2x plus 3. So that's right here. And if you look for 1 marking and 2 markings on the other, that's this side right here. Since they are congruent, that means they're going to have the same measure, which means they're going to be equal to each other. So we can create this equation. This side is going to be equal to that side. These two sides are corresponding here. So for x, you're going to have 2x plus 3 is equal to 3x minus 6. and then you can get all of your x's to the same side. You end up with just x, and then you can add your 6 to both sides. You'll end up with 9. So x is equal to 9 here. And now we want to find the value of y as well. And if we didn't know that these are the only two sides left, so obviously they go together. If we didn't know that, we could look and match up. We have 2 markings for this angle, 3 markings for that angle. We're looking at the side that those 2 angles have in common. So look for 2 markings and 3 markings here, and the side they have in common is 24. So 3y equals 24, meaning y is going to equal 8 for this one. Alright, let's try a couple more. We'll see some different examples here. Our next one, we have this right here. We are given this figure here, and we are told that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DBE. And we're dealing with the sides here. Now, instead of writing all the statements, I'm just going to write the statement that I need. Since we're trying to find the value of x, let's look at the side that we have. We have side AB. So in this triangle, we have side AB. And that's going to correspond with, well, if we use the statement, AB goes with DB. So that's going to correspond with DB. And if you want to mark it off, AB is going to be congruent with DB. Sometimes it might be congruent with this side down here. It all depends on what the statement is saying. In this case, it's just reflected over. Sometimes it might like reflect down and then reflect over. So you have to be careful. Always check the statement. So these two sides are corresponding. They're going to be congruent. So we can say 2x minus 4 is equal to 30. So 2x is going to be equal to 34 when you add 4 to both sides. So x should equal 17. And just like that, we're all done. All right, now on to our last one. We have this figure drawn. Looks like this. Kind of like this. And we have LPZ and then M and N. We are given, I'll put these in different colors. This side is 15, this side is 19, and this side right here is 4x minus 9. And we are also told that triangle LZP is congruent to triangle NZM. And we're trying to find the value of x here. So if you look at x, that is the side ZN. So ZN, we're in this triangle here. That's going to be congruent to, well, ZN would be ZL. So look for ZL. Well, ZL is right here. So these two sides correspond with one another. So then we can make the equation 4x minus 9 equals 15. Add your 9 to both sides. You're going to end up with 4x equals 24, so x should equal 6. Again, it always comes down to this statement. That's going to tell you what corresponds and tells you what sides go together. So always use this statement as your reference. Sometimes the figures can be a little misleading, but this congruent statement will always tell you what goes with what. Alright, that's all we have for the day. So go ahead and practice some of these on your own. Have a nice day.